Hello, it's Phil at digitaldjtips.com. Today we're having a look at the speakers that you can see set up in our studio behind me, which are the Gemini SR-6 active monitors. Now these are from a company which kind of sells itself on having affordable gear and therefore they are a little bit cheaper than the competition around them. The question is, how good are they, and is it a wise decision to spend a little bit less on a speaker like this instead of spending more on some of the better known brands? So first let's talk about the kind of speaker they are. Now they are an active speaker. That means they have a built-in amplifier. These two are identical. There's no master and slave going on like you have on cheaper computer speakers or anything like that. They are identical speakers. They're what's called bi-amped, and that means there's two amplifiers in them. So you plug the left-hand output from your DJ controller will go into the left-hand speaker and the right-hand output into the right-hand speaker, but when that gets there, the bass and the treble for the woofer and the tweeter are handled by two separate amplifiers. In theory, that should give you truer, better sound. So they are a reasonably serious speaker. You know, they're pretty high-end features that we've just discussed. You can see the appearance of them. They look reasonably normal apart from the bright red cones on the woofers, which are kind of a counterfoil to the bright yellow ones on the quite iconic KRK speakers. So that's either going to appeal to you or not. That's personal taste. They're quite boxy, they're quite deep, and they're quite heavy. They're made of plywood. I'll show you how I work that out. They have a port at the front here. This is for the bass. It's just to allow the bass to move freely into your room. And if you put your finger in here and just feel and look, you can see that it's kind of like a 3-ply composite plywood or something like that. Anyway, they're wooden, they're quite well made, they're heavy, they feel as good as the speakers in their price bracket that I've tested. So no complaints there. You can see they're quite deep, and you can also see they have these rubber feet on the bottom, or foam feet, which come with it, and you stick them on yourself. So a traditional looking speaker, this bit lights up when you switch them on. And that's really the only bit that's different between these and another speaker by a company called iKey. These are basically a rebrand of something which seems quite generic that's out there. I don't have any problem at all with that. If they're in the shop, the price is right and they sound good, who cares what label's on them? But just so you know, companies that sell stuff that maybe is a little bit cheaper have to make savings somewhere, and research and development is one area. If you found something that is not well distributed, that you can get made at a good price with your badge on it, it's something that happens a lot. Happens a lot with headphones as well, even from a lot of the bigger companies. Anyway, let's look at the back of the speaker and see what you get. This socket here is for the kettle style big power lead, which are supplied. Then there's the on-off switch, and you have 3 inputs. You have 2 balanced inputs, and you have an RCA unbalanced input. Now, when you're using DJ gear like this and you're very close to the speakers, the RCA is going to be fine. So there's no real quality differential between using these. What's most useful is that A, you have all 3, so whichever leads you have and whatever the outputs are on your gear, you're going to be able to match it reasonably easily. But B, is that there are 3 inputs. And that means you can plug 3 things in and not have to keep unplugging and plugging in again every time you change. So that's the most useful thing about having these multiple inputs, is that they actually exist. So I think that's a good thing to have. The other 2 controls, one of them is obvious, is for volume, so you'll set that the same on each speaker, but the other one is for high frequency response, and it attenuates the treble, which I found useful. It's you can probably hear from these videos, it's a very echoey, boxy room that we test in here. Quite unfortunately, it's also an L shape, which is, again, quite unfortunate for testing sound equipment. So we need to adjust things and tweak things so that they work best. And in this room, we take a bit of the high frequency off. This seems to affect kind of like the lower end of the highs, if you like, and the higher end of the mids. Certainly did to my ears. So what I ended up doing was taking off the high frequency here, which sounded a little bit harsh in this room, all the way to the second setting, so it's second lowest, and then I used my DJ controller to tweak the treble back up again, and it sounded really sweet. The DJ controller I tested them on is the one you can see here, the Reloop Terminal Mix 4, which we're also testing at the moment, and I used 320 kbps MP3s, which I know sound good, same kind of stuff I DJ with and that I've tested other gear on, so I know that the music reference was good. Overall, I found the sound from these to be perfectly acceptable. I think for 9 out of 10 DJs, they're going to sound fine. If you're a producer, you'll probably be alright with them if you're not particularly discerning, or you haven't got an ear that's taken you a decade to really tune in. But I don't think the sound is as refined as some of the more expensive speakers. It certainly doesn't, they don't sing like some of the best speakers that we've tested here. But they're competent, and if you can find them at the right price, and they're in the store and you listen to them, they sound good to you, I think they're a solid speaker, they don't drop any balls, and they are priced to be affordable. So there you go, the Gemini SR-6. As always, the full review of these speakers is at digitaldjtips.com, and you can find it at digitaldjtips.com/SR-6. Thank you for watching.